Well, this broadcast is inappropriate for all ages right here on #WeAreMovieClub. Salutations, I am Camera and I am conversation ready. This week's movie is Kick-Ass. Yeah, another good movie based on a comic book done correctly from the comic book source. It's amazing what you can do when you use what made the fucking franchise popular in the first place. I think they deviate a little bit in the second one, but it is what it is. But we'll get there next week for next week's episode. Let's talk about Kick-Ass real quick. Again, totally biased. Watched this quite a few times. Really love this. All four actors just did a phenomenal job. Nick Cage. This has been like a Nick Cage couple weeks with Movie Club over on Rabbit/Camera. Really interesting that it's gone that way. But anyways, jumping straight into the movie here. Opens on sky and credits. Opens on a dude on a roof. He jumps to his death as people applaud. And apparently that has nothing to do with our story. So it reopens. A nerd going to high school. Teenage hormones have far too long a moment in this opening. We see social awkwardness. We see his mother die at the breakfast table from an aneurysm. It's literally, if you'll get the joke, it's mimicking the Bruce Wayne origin story, but it's just not nearly as tragic as Bruce Wayne's. Like, there's no one to go face and fight. You can't, like, take a battle to the aneurysms. Nothing like that. But he grows up nerdy. He's at this cool cafe comic book store thing. And it comes this question of, like, why hasn't anyone ever become a superhero? And it kills me because they keep saying superhero instead of hero or costume hero, because that's what makes sense. You're not a superhero unless you have superpowers that you use for heroism. But you can be a normal everyday hero, which is the point of this fucking franchise. So it kills me they keep saying superhero. Or instead of costume hero, or costumes, like they do in Watchmen, which throughout this movie and the sequel, I see a lot of parallels to other comic books, particularly Batman and Watchmen. Watchmen more so. And Batman in particular, because he's probably the most predominant street level hero there is. The fact that he gets to play on the cosmic level or the world level with Superman and friends is kind of insane. Like, it just shows exactly how smart he is that he's managed to secure that. Excuse you, Microsoft. I'm not signing into shit right now. Woo! If I seem cranky, this is the last one of these I'm doing in this run, because I'm trying to make up for when I was sick. But I have to do this so that I can do enough tomorrow to be back on track. So, da-da-da-da! And who else do we need in this movie but McLovin? I purposely don't look up this guy's name because McLovin is the most fantastic name of all time. And I have very fond memories of liking Superbad, and I rewatched it a couple months ago to ill effect. So it may or may not circle back to We Are Movie Club. It depends if we run out of candidates, because it's something I'll always leave on the candidate list. But there probably will always be something better to watch. Just saying. And that's pretty much true of almost anything. But McLovin shows up as the lonely rich kid. And they feel bad for him, so they try to make friends, but they can't because his people tell him to fuck off. So it is what it is. Out in the street, the kids get robbed by some gangbangers, because apparently that's what they do. Like, if you think about it, it's kind of smart. Like, people who buy comic books obviously have a little bit of money to burn, if not a lot. So you can take from them and get a decent take out of it. I'm not saying go rob people outside of comic book stores. I'm just saying 1 + 2 makes 3. It makes sense. So at warehouse, at a warehouse, some mobsters got robbed by a guy who looks like Batman. I never said Batman. So the mobster boss is pissed, so he kills the guy responsible or who was in charge of the operation because he's like, it's more likely that you robbed me than some guy who looks like Batman. So I'll just take care of you, and it won't be a problem anymore. And if you can see here, it's most likely Big Daddy, based on just a poster behind me, which we later learn it's true. And then they go to the movies because fucking that's what you do when you're a family, and like that's just killing people is just part of work. It's like I gotta stop by the office and do some copies and turn them into my boss, but after that we'll go to the movies. You just substitute. We gotta kill a motherfucker instead, and it works. So at home, dude gets a shitty costume. Let's be honest, the kick-ass costume is ridiculously shitty. If I remember right, it's a wetsuit with a wetsuit hat. So, that's got to be just terrible to wear on a regular basis. So later we're like on a roof, and it's just Nick Cage playing Daddy, and Chloe Grace Moretz. Jesus, Grace Moretz. Oh, jeez, my typing's horrible. Is there, and she's looking adorable in her little pink jacket, and then Nick shoots her. Turns out it's vigilante training. She's got a bulletproof vest on, which I don't understand why you wouldn't just wear on top of that and not put holes in your nice clothes, if you can help it. And then she bargains for the number of times she gets shot to go to the bowling alley. So she she adds one on because she doesn't want to do another one, and like she's like, well, what if we do what if we go to the bowling alley afterwards? And he's like, well, 2 out of this and then 1 more out of the other one. I mean, you really gotta trust someone, and I love that amount of trust to let someone shoot you in the chest, even if you know everything, because there is a chance that bulletproof vest will break. It's very real, especially depending if you've used it before. So Kick-Ass is doing his own training, and he's jumping from rooftop to rooftop, which is not easy, or he's trying to. And I think like he sets it up to do it, and then he chickens out at the last minute, but like over an alleyway, anyways. And what you do there is you set like a board across, or not a board, but like a large board, you build a bridge essentially, and you practice jumping over the bridge. That's what you would do there. We had a similar thing, there's a park when I was in Omaha. We were like, that's only this far, I can jump that far. And sure enough, I could do a standing jump the same distance, but for whatever reason, I couldn't jump from ledge to ledge. I would jump, and I would land right in front of the ledge. And it wasn't like roof to roof, it was a water channel that was empty. So I would try to jump from one bank to the other, and I couldn't do it, but I could do the same distance measured out on flat ground. It was really weird. But he runs into the gangbangers, the same ones that robbed him in his suit, out of his suit. And then he costumes up to face them. And he suckers one with the club, the other one stabs him in the gut. And then he's wandering off, and just some asshole, he's not getting roadhead or anything, just hits him with the car, and carries on. So he ends up with all mess of broken bones and everything. The paramedics show up and remove the costume, which is standard, because they have to cut it away to get at him to work on him. But honestly, that wetsuit would have kept a lot of stuff in place. So I don't know why you do that. But he asks the medics not to mention the costume to anybody, and surprisingly they do. So he's going to be in recovery for a while there. But in some high-rise, the mobster goes to see the boss at breakfast, and of course McLovin's there because he's the kid, and he wants in on the family business. and the lackey says business is being interrupted by vigilantes. So it's the not Batman type character, which of course leads us to cut back to not Batman giving his daughter a butterfly knife for her birthday. And it's a weird bonding experience where it's like, look, Dad, look at me. You're not looking. Look at me. Pay attention to me. Recognize me. So like, she has all the normal firings. It's just what's provided those has changed. And granted, she's a fucking kick-ass superhero, or hero, vigilante, really. But like, that's kind of like the argument of like whether or not her life's been stolen from her, and like the basis for the next movie. So back in the hospital, Kick-Ass ends up getting all these metal plates and messed up nerve endings like Ajax from Deadpool, if you want to go there. High school, his friends fuck with him. They hit him with the tray because he can't feel it. And the hot girl that he's in love with offers to buy him a latte. And it turns out there's some kind of rumor that he's gay and she's a fag hag. That's the term. If there's a better one, let me know at CameraRide25 on Twitter. So back home, he's exercise training. He gets a new costume, which is so dumb that he ordered the same one. I think he might have changed it up a little bit, but he gets double clubs now, which he's not using them right, or he doesn't. They're not made of the right material, because they should be like shattering bone if you hit people correctly with them. Batons like that are not a joke. They're not a nice weapon. But he starts a MySpace page, which totally dates the movie. Because nowadays it would probably still be a Facebook page, but he'd probably just make a Squarespace page. Not sponsored, but that's probably what he would do. He'd just make a web page that people could go, because then you can get rid of it pretty easily, and it's not all up on somebody's servers, in theory. But he goes out on patrol looking for a lost cat, like Mr. Bitey or something. He finally finds him up on like a billboard or something, someplace where the fucking cat could never get to. I'm just being honest with you. Like, so somebody took the cat and threw him up there, maybe. That I could see that being the case. It's a shitty enough town, maybe. But he falls and trips, and then, or he trips a guy getting chased. So the three guys are like, thanks, freak, and they start kicking the shit out of the new guy, or that's being introduced here. So, blah, 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 and he, of course, won't stand for that, so he starts defending the guy that he tripped, and he starts trying to, like, fight off three guys, and of course, it's right outside the comic book store, where, like, all these assholes are sitting around drinking smoothies or whatever, like, and they all take their phones and start filming, because, to be honest, that's what most people do, is they don't interact. Like, nobody's gonna come help, but, like, it's just sad. Like, no one's gonna come join in, help, defend the guy getting his shit kicked out of him, or the guy trying to help, but they'll record it for the views. It is what it is. So, like, and the line is, like, because the guys actually pull a knife and, like, tells him to walk away, and he refuses. It's like, three guys laying to one guy while everyone watches, and you want to know what's wrong with me? So I thought that was a really good line, so I tried to type it down. It really embodies the character, and who knows what happened there. He could have owed those guys money for drugs he bought. It could have been a drug deal gone bad, like he was the dealer, and he gave them bad coke. We don't know. Like, we're not embodying that. But 3-on-1, defending the weak type thing. So yeah, sure, I guess that's what heroes do. So the store starts carrying Kick-Ass merch. There's news of Kick-Ass everywhere. So Katie ends up taking that date with Dave or Danny, whatever Kick-Ass's real name is. I'm going to say Dave. Yeah, Dave. and she's she's new to comics, so she likes Scott Pilgrim, which I thought was really funny. Typically, when ladies end up being introduced to comics, they get inundated with costumes, like that are fighting. It's all about violence. But what they end up liking is like these story-based narratives that are here and there. Like, nope, forgot them all. Shit, I had like 3 of them on hand. They're not in my head. But like Scott Pilgrim's kind of like a nice balance. So it was cool to have them reference that. But she tells Dave about a problem that she's having with Razul, that she was thinking about emailing Kick-Ass or whatever, even though it's MySpacing. And it's apparently from like her urban outreach program. Which, for the time that the comic was written and everything, like I totally get it that like, yeah, it's like I help black people sometimes. It's like, oh no, I hate that terminology. It's not that like the statistics don't match. There's just other things at play here. So it's just kind of irritating. I don't know. I'll shut up. It's like stop being offended on other people's behalves. I have enough things to be upset about. Or pretend to be upset about, however you want to say that. So, at these apartments, Kick-Ass goes to see Razul. The door guard lets him in. I have no idea why. And he talks big to Razul, to great result of the entire room kind of turning on him. To top it off, he threatens to break Razul's legs, which we haven't seen him do shit with those batons in any serious fashion. But he ends up tasering Razul's face, and he doesn't even use like a second charge out of it or anything. His goons jump him. Razul goes to get a knife, which I think is actually a machete. And then enter Hit Girl, which not only has kick-ass music with it, but Hit Girl is fucking awesome. Like, Chloe really hit the movie scene hard with this. And I don't care like how old she is or anything. I love that she says cunt, not only because it's funny coming from a girl, but it's a totally underused word in America, and people are way too uptight about it. They're way too uptight about fuck and cunt and damn anyways. Everybody fucking uses them, and they don't mean anything. Like, if I listen back to this and I hear myself say this fucking scene, all I'm hearing is this scene, because it doesn't mean anything. It's a punctuation. It's an inflection, basically, as far as I'm concerned. But she rolls in there calling people cunts, and it's awesome. Because she kills everyone except for the doorman, who she forgets to secure, and then Daddy takes him out with the sniper round. Hit Girl robs the place, and then they go to the roof. And Kick-Ass can't make the jump because he hasn't got that far in his training. So they disappear, because why wouldn't they? And Kick-Ass goes home to cry. Quite literally, he curls up in bed like a baby and cries. Back in the high-rise, Mr. Mobster's pissed, because of course he is. And since Kick-Ass is all over the paper, he's blaming Kick-Ass. Back home, Big Daddy and Hit Girl visit Kick-Ass. And for whatever reason, Nick Cage has decided to treat Big Daddy's character like he's William Shatner. So he tends to talk like this. Your IP address was very simple to track. Maybe less face punctuation, but that's how he sounds when he's talking. So it's pretty funny. Back at the dump, Hit Girl and Big Daddy are shaking down an informant by crushing a car he's in. And he finally talks, and they just crush him anyways. Because who needs to be a hero with morals? Who needs that? I'm actually all for it, but I'm just saying from the typical standards, not my own, that doesn't ride. Back at Katie's, Dave gets to put tanny lotion on Katie because he's gay, even though he's not, which makes him a super creep. So back at, let's see. Oh yeah, the apartment. Cops break in. They get into the the lair of Big Daddy, which I didn't realize how it was laid out until way later, that it's literally just the apartment. It's not a lair. It's no secret room or anything. It's literally just you walk in and everything's fucked up. So God forbid they ever order Chinese food, you know? But he gets into this expositional comic book story that Big Daddy has drawn and illustrated and written himself, it appears. Where it's like this comic book story about Big Daddy, from cop to prison. Wife dies during childbirth. Daddy gets out of prison, trains his daughter up. Big Daddy confronts Marcus. Marcus lets him know the mobster's gunning for him. And obviously the Big Daddy's obsessed with going after this mob boss, which is the same mob boss we've seen. And I don't remember his fucking name because it doesn't matter. But it's so good. Just like that drive, that insanity of drive too. That's what it is. Out on the street, that mobster happens to cross Kick-Ass, follows him, sucker kicks him, shoots a witness, shoots him, and feels really, really good about himself. I'm going to say that much. Back at the clinic, Katie's crying about Razul. She's talking to Dave. She's like, oh, I'm glad I didn't hear from him, but oh, I didn't realize he died. Whatever. So, back in the high-rise, the mobster finds out that he killed an impersonator. McLovin offers to be a double-agent superhero. And cans him a list of things he needs to make it happen. I love that he had that prepared. Back at the store, there's news about red mist hitting the streets. Dave's upset, jealous, because obviously Red Mist has a budget, where Dave has, like, nothing, it seems, other than this fucking wetsuit. Back home, Red Mist requests to meet, and they decide to meet in the darkest of alleys, because why not? They even take a ride around the Mistmobile. Fucking weird shit. Really, it's not. It's such an odd meeting. But they end up going to a lumber warehouse where a trap is prepped for Kick-Ass. The boss wants Kick-Ass alive when he gets there because he likes handling. I like that he likes handling shit himself. If he's gonna bother to have a hero killed, why not be the one to do it? You know. But they get there and the whole place is on fire. Red Mist runs in there on the premise that there's people in the warehouse. But he just ends up grabbing a teddy bear because everyone's dead. And eventually he has to pull Kick-Ass out. And I don't know why he didn't just let him burn. It didn't... it doesn't make sense. But maybe Chris like has the smallest bit of a conscience at this point. Oh, man. So... back at the high-rise, the boss is pissed. He pulls in a cop. So it's a cop we've actually seen a couple times before. Red Mist shows up with the natty cam, which I never noticed until this viewing over on Rabbit/Camera that he had pervy videos before this. But they watch the nanny cam, and it's Big Daddy killing everyone. It's very cinematically done for just being a nanny cam. DeMarco, that's the boss name. But Big Daddy declares it's time to go after DeMarco for him and Hit Girl. Dave is out of his mind at home about being a hero. He's quitting. He's done. Dave goes to do a last hurrah with Katie to show him that he's been kick-ass. And he does it in the worst ways possible. He sneaks in her room. He stands there while she's getting dressed half naked or ready for bed. She ends up spraying him in the face with hairspray because he gets too close. She beats the shit out of him with like a tennis racket or something. And he reveals his identity almost immediately. He goes to leave, and then she invites him to stay as her adrenaline comes down a little bit. I'm pretty sure they bang. I could be wrong. For someone who pretended to be gay for so long, she should not have done that. But your thing's your thing. Back at the lair, Hit Girl and Big Daddy order some mystery item, which I think is funny. Like they had to keep that a secret, but it was a really good reveal later. Katie declares she'd bang Kick-Ass, and then they go out to the alley to bang. Cinema Sins really surprised me on this one because it's like they were like, scene does contain a lap dance. Scene contains the lap dance plus intercourse. 2 cents off or something like that. I thought it was so funny that like he went that far with the joke because it's a running joke with them, but still. Back home, he gets an email from Red Mist. He goes to respond, but Katie warns him against being Kick-Ass, so he's trying to put it away, put it behind him, but he goes anyways for whatever reason. And back at the lair, Big Daddy and Hit Girl are looking at some minigun parts, and they're going on assignment. Red Mist and Kick-Ass drive off to meet, and they end up going over to Big Daddy's. I don't know why they know where Big Daddy's address is, but Big Daddy has that moment of distrust, and he goes, well, if you're with Kick-Ass, you're with us, and lets Red Mist in, and then Red Mist shoots Hit Girl, and she falls out the window. The mobsters rush in. Big Daddy's just being a big bad crybaby, so he can't fight back. They shock stun him, and they take him. He knew that she had a vest on. I don't give a fuck if I'm talking out of order. He knew she had a fucking vest on. He shouldn't have been bitching. He should have been to action. He should have broke Red Mist's arm right off the bat. But they take Big Daddy and Kick-Ass, and then Red Mist is a big crybaby to his dad. Dad's gonna kill them all. He wanted to save Kick-Ass because he's like, Kick-Ass didn't do anything. He's just a kid like me. Which is stupid, like, on every level. It's not like they were friends in real life or anything. That would be different. If, like, they had created that bond, that would be different. So they start, like, a live feed for the execution. They have Big Daddy and Kick-Ass cuffed to chairs. They've got this weird Learning Channel version of torture, where they beat the shit out of him. Like, but Big Daddy's still in his armor, so, like, I don't know how much damage he really took, really. That doesn't make sense to me, now that I'm thinking about it. But it made for a really, like, good scene. And then there's an attempt to light them on fire. And then gun gets shot through the head. Feed goes black. So I'm assuming this guy gets shot through the head. The guy who's going to light him up gets shot. And then everything goes black. And it's not the feed. It's the lights in the room went off, because it turns out it's Hit Girl running around with night vision on, just killing fucks left and right. In the store, the nerds are watching it and just being dorks, completely not serious about the situation. So during the lights out period, somehow Big Daddy did get lit up. And by the end of it, he is rather crispy. He's a lot more crispy than I thought. And he dies in the chair. I figured, like, they'd be able to get him help. Having seen this movie before, like, that's how dramatic, like, it seemed he was being, because he was screaming directions to her as he's burning to death. So, I don't know. You would think, again, like, Kick-Ass is not a good hero in this, but Kick-Ass would have been able to take the opportunity to break his chair to free himself, to at least tip Big Daddy back, so that, like, the flames are going up and he'd only lose his legs. But whatever. Not picking it apart too much. Oh man. So Hit Girl ends up driving Kick-Ass away. Like, they drive together away from the scene. So she at least was able to rescue him. Back at the lair, Kick-Ass tries to take her home. He's like, just come live with us, it'll be fine. But she goes on mission. Of course, he goes with her to try to help in whatever way he can. Now, this next part gets a little controversial, but that's okay. There's an anime called Kite that is just controversial in itself because it uses underage girls in several different ways, the main way being to be assassin killers. So one of the scenes definitely has the character dressing up like a schoolgirl to play Innocence. This pulls almost exactly from the anime in a lot of ways. And Leon the Professional also did this back when too. So it's not that it's not a known trope, if you will. So she dresses up like a little schoolgirl, comes in to use the phone, ends up killing the guards on duty, and changes in the elevator to assault the high-rise. Now, she didn't bring nearly enough guns with her, so I'm a little upset about that. But what can you do? Because she kills like 5 guys in the foyer, and then she kills like another 20 guys in the hallway. Like, you start counting this shit, it's an insane amount of firepower that goes back and forth, and the amount of bodies laying around is just crazy. But she runs out of ammo on the very last guy, and then ends up like smacking him and like running behind the kitchen counter or something. Reinforcements come up the elevator. They've got big hardware, and so that last guy runs back to them and like tells them what's up. But she's got like this mini grappling gun thing, so she uses it to grab the kitchen knives, and she's only got like 3 or 4 of them. So, like, they're like, she doesn't have a gun. Poke your head out, see what's up. So the one guy leans out to figure out what's going on, and 2 knives go into his chest. They're not on ropes or anything. She can't get them back. She should have thrown one. That way she had a couple left. So she only really has, like, a melee weapon left, because if she throws it, she's done. She's got nothing. But the guy goes, fuck this, I'm going to go grab a bazooka. And there's a lovely line from McLovin there about, like, you don't have anything under control, you just went to grab a bazooka. And just as he's about to use it, Kick-Ass shows up on it with a jetpack. It's the mystery item they ordered, and there's miniguns on it. So funny. It's so funny to see that happen. And he just lays waste with the miniguns, because that's what you do with miniguns. So Hit Girl and Kick-Ass go after DeMarco because it's just him and McLovin left, or Red Mist. Red Mist and Kick-Ass go at it, and they're both weak-ass superheroes, or heroes, and Kick-Ass is still wearing the jetpack. So, like, it's a lame fight. It really is, but it ends in this weak-ass tie. DeMarco and Hit Girl, however, is actually, like, a really good scene. Like, you really see them tearing into each other. But he floors her a couple of times, and he eventually gets the upper hand. But when it comes to like to finish her, he goes and grabs a gun instead of using his bare hands. It's just a little girl. Should have just killed her with his bare hands. He's a moron. So what happens is, as he's about to shoot Hit Girl in the face, and maybe he wanted the body a certain way for a trophy, I don't know. Kick-Ass kicks the door in with a bazooka and hits him, and for whatever reason, this is not how most bazookas work, is the rocket fires, hits DeMarco in the chest, pushes him out the window, and it goes about 50 meters out, and then explodes. I don't know what kind of like sensory detection's on that rocket, but sorry, most rockets aren't going to do that. It would have exploded in the room and killed everyone. Which is why you don't use that. Plus, there would have been a fair amount of fire behind the launcher that it probably would have roasted Chris, too, or McLovin. Even though he's like 2 rooms away. He's a hallway and a room away. So it's definitely not how it works. So Kick-Ass ends up grabbing Hit Girl and flying away, and Chris eventually wakes up to the carnage that was his life. Oh, man. Such a great movie. I can't believe I only spent a half hour talking about it. It's not even the greatest of moods. But it's like I'd want to watch it again right now. And then, like, if I watch this, I'd want to watch the sequel. I definitely want to see... like, it makes me immediately, like, want to experience the whole thing over again. It's that good. It stays that good. It retains, even if it's dated with MySpace. But I've got to go. Until you see us next time, have a nice day from us here at #WeAreMovieClub. If you want to see anything else we're up to, go ahead and click the annotations, and they'll take you to other channels. Thanks for watching.